దానికి టైం చేస్తారా? మన టైం ముందు చేసినా కదా.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, any questions for purchasing before we move on to receiving?
Oh no, we don't have any questions. You can forward the receiving.
No questions?
No.
Okay. So I'll move on to receiving now.
Okay.
The receiving is basically this screen here. Purchase receiving. Okay? I will just receive first without a PO. So normally this happens in some hotels where they can receive without orders. So in this case, let's just use that test supplier. I'll put my delivery note. Please, this delivery note is not your invoice number. Or it can be your invoice number, but in MC terminology, delivery note is different from invoice number. Okay? The date can be today, yesterday, or 1 week before or after. 1 week after, before the actual date. It cannot be in the future. Okay? System will not allow you to post receiving for tomorrow. Okay, so let's just choose today's date. So I have a blank screen here, no items. So to add items, I click new position. I select the location, ABC store. I'm receiving. What can I receive? Let's just receive cookies, walnut cookies. $100. Okay? 10 pieces or 10 tubs.
Okay.
$100. Go GST. Oh, no, just GST there, $7. And save. Then I have my receiving here. Net. This is the GST amount and this is the gross amount. Okay?
Okay.
I'm going to add one more item. Let's just say I'm going to receive radish. 20 packets of this at $1.40. Save that. So now net GST and gross has changed. Now I'm going to book that receiving. Delivery note is this. If you are receiving from PO, then this will matter. Close PO or not to close the PO. But in this case, I'm receiving without a PO, so whatever I do here, check or not check on the close order, it will not affect anything. Okay, so I just leave it blank. If I have the invoice number with me, I can just say, okay, book this delivery note as invoice. And the invoice number can be XXX99887. Okay? The invoice date can also be different from the delivery date. Okay? Delivery date is today, but invoice date is dated yesterday. Okay?
Okay.
The BO means
Back
the back office.
Cash on delivery.
Now I got the summary here. I'm going to book. And I should get that report that says you have received 2 items, net amount, GST, and gross, and the details of the item here. Okay? So that's very basic. Receiving without PO. Okay? The next screen I'm going to show you is receiving with orders. I still go to the same screen, receiving, but this time I click this icon here. It's called the wizard icon.
Okay.
And that's going to show me the orders that I can receive from the system. Okay? So of course, first step is to select the supplier. Let's say I'm receiving from Anglis. Anglis has 3 PO. Yeah, PO number 74, 3, and this 34. Okay? So I'm going to receive PO number 34. Got 2 items there, beef tenderloin and tendon. Okay? So these are arrows here, arrow down. If both items are to be received, then you have to click the double arrow. If only one item is to be received, just highlight and click single arrow. Okay, in this case I'm receiving 2 items. And I'm receiving them in my ABC store. Okay, so I got 2 items there. Next step, let's say the supplier delivered only 3.5. I ordered 4, but the supplier delivered 3.5, so I can make changes to them. And the system will color that red, then put a marker there that says UD, undelivered or underdelivered. Now this total here on top should match the total written in your invoice. Net, GST or tax, and total. So I'm going to book that. Click book. Okay, now as I've said earlier, you want to close the PO or do not close the PO. If you close the PO, the remaining half kilogram here in delivered will not be delivered anymore. If you don't close the PO, you can still come in later to the system to receive the half kilogram. So in this example, I'm not going to close the PO, I'm going to leave that blank. So I have the invoice with me, and just put their invoice number, and book. Okay? So that's the receiving with orders. Now there's an item here that is under-delivered. The second item, 3.5. So I can just type Anglis here. And you will see that the icon for PO number 34 has changed. Okay? It has a red color there, while this icon here is all blue icon. Okay? If this icon is like this, that means this is a partial delivery. A blue color icon means this hasn't been received. Okay? So I'm receiving this. So the next time I open PO number 34, I only see half kilogram now. 0.5. I don't see the original quantity anymore because the system will only show you what is left outstanding, which is in this case half kilogram. So I'm going to receive that, or maybe this time, after weighing in the system, I receive 0.45 kilogram only. Okay, so the weight is not correct. Then I book. At this time I can close the PO, even though there's still like 50 grams undelivered. Then I have the invoice with the invoice number and book. Okay, so that's my receiving. Once I book, of course, my stock on hand will increase, and the average price will also recalculate based on the new price that I have received. Any questions?
Yeah, here one question. Second item you taken at the partial delivery.
That's correct.
Okay, when the storekeeper for receiving a person is raising another PO, is it any alert shows that they already pending that delivery?
You want to see a report with all the pending deliveries?
No. While once again that store person raised the PO for one more item for the same item next time. Till that partial delivery hasn't came. For for next delivery, is it any alert? It will show the last time partial delivery has made the same item.
Let me see here. When you make an order, let's say new position.
Same supplier, same
order.
item.
Yes. No, it doesn't show on the screen if there are pending deliveries for that item. However, if you want to see a report that shows all pending deliveries, there's a report here that says open PO.
Okay.
If you run the open PO and say your store is ABC store, for example, click preview. Then the system will show you the items that hasn't been delivered to your ABC store. In this case, there's apple that's not yet delivered and apple red that's not delivered. So it doesn't alert the user when they create the order, because they can order anytime they want, even if there are pending deliveries.
Okay, here is one point that here while it shows the pending POs, it will be because of last day of the contract, it will be ended. For today is contract ended with vendor. He is for separate partial delivery. From next 1 week after that contract again renewal. That time prices will fluctuate. Either it is increase or less decrease prices.
Okay.
So that storekeeper or the purchaser, he doesn't know these prices are say previous one or new one. So if PO is open, partial delivery PO is open, maybe he can select the older one.
Okay. The prices in the PO does not change.
Okay.
Even if your price quotation has changed, your order will not change. Okay. So any new prices that you enter in the system will not affect the old orders that you have processed. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. If the price last year was $1 for one apple, then the PO was not delivered, and the new price today is $2 per apple. That $1 apple will not change. So if you receive the PO now, it will be still $1. However, there might be restrictions if you can still receive that or not be able to receive that anymore. If you do inventory every month, for example, and close the store,
End
you
of the
close the
month.
location every month, end of the month, right?
Okay.
You do month-end closing, the system will not allow anymore, or there's a parameter in the system that will restrict the user to receive older POs. Okay, that means if the PO is already 1 year old, they might not be able to receive it with the delivery date that was indicated in the PO because those dates are already closed.
Okay.
Okay? So there are restrictions like that in the system where we will see when we do the month-end closing on Friday.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's a basic receiving I've shown you. In Maldives, you might be familiar because it's close to your country there. The Maldives has a different way of doing receiving. Okay?
Okay.
Most of their purchases are imported. Imported, they come with extra charges like tax,
Freight charges.
shipping charges, freight charges, custom duties, all those.
Yes.
Okay? So those receiving, when you do receiving, there's a special setup for Maldives that will allow them to do that. Okay? But I will not confuse you with that yet. Let's just do a very basic one now. Maybe later when you have a full understanding of how the receiving works here, then we can schedule a session on how we can receive Maldives invoices.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So now, going back to receiving screen. And click that. My supplier is English. Now the PO34 is gone, only 2 PO remaining.
Yes.
Because I have closed the PO and there's and tell the system that that PO will not be received anymore. Okay? So earlier there were 3 PO under English, now only 2.
Okay.
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 Now I'm going to receive this again. PO number 3, one item, single arrow there. From this screen, if you have the access, you can add an item. Okay?
Okay.
I'm going to add mango. Mango, 12 pieces. Okay? But that mango will turn red because that means this mango has no PO or has no order.
Okay. Yes.
Okay? So you can add items here. You can also edit the GST. If you have the access, it will also allow you to edit the prices. You can also move columns. This one I don't need. I move it to the left. And this movement that you do will be saved so that the next time you log into receiving, your preferred column will be shown, not the default columns. Okay?
Okay.
There's also a discount in value, because sometimes a discount comes in dollar value and not in percentage. Most discount will tell you I give you 5% discount, 10% discount. But some invoices will tell you I give you $1 discount on this one. Okay?
Okay.
That's a $1 discount. That's different from a percentage discount which is entered here.
Okay.
Okay? So that's $1. So if the unit price is 13, the unit price becomes 12 because there's a $1 discount per item.
Okay.
This discount is per item. Okay? So the unit cost becomes $12 now. And that's it. I'm going to book this. Now, since I fully received the PO, the tenderloin order 3, delivered 3, it doesn't matter if I click this now or not because the item is fully received. So even if I don't click this, the PO will automatically close. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can also receive without invoice number. For example, the deliveries came in without invoice number. Then I tell the system, I don't have the invoice yet, so I leave that blank.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so I book this. So you will notice here there's no invoice number here. Here, big tenderloin ordered 3, mango ordered 0. That's because the mango was added manually.
Okay.
Correct? Now, here, $77 in total. Just a summary of what you have received. Okay, so that's basically receiving. Very easy. All you have to do is select the PO and click book. Let's see this. So I'm trying to print. Okay.
Noel, here is
So,
one question here.
Yeah.
Now we added one more item to PO.
Now
You
directly
added one item to PO.
Mangoes, right?
Okay.
So that will updated in PO or not?
No, the PO will not change. The receiving, however, will change.
later on we can write the PO.
Once you created the PO, it doesn't edit that even if you add 10 more items here in receiving.
Yes.
The PO will still have one item. Beef
Okay.
tenderloin, it doesn't include the mango.
So before closing PO, can we? Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Ask can we go back to the GRN? Once we book the GRN, can we
Okay. Continue, Mr. Noel.
Yeah. Suzanne, can I proceed now?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so now there are also scenarios wherein the PO you want to receive is not in this list. Okay?
Okay.
The PO will appear on this list if the delivery date is not yet due for today. Okay? Let's say the delivery date is for tomorrow. I want to see the PO here until I change the date here. Okay? I want to see all POs until tomorrow. Then the system will refresh to show all PO until tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay? Because it's not yet due for delivery today, so it doesn't show on the screen.
Okay.
Can also be in foreign currency. You see there's a conversion here. That means the supplier is in Australian dollar currency. So if I now book this, you will see, okay. This, when I book, you will notice that there's for this supplier, there's an additional screen that pop out. Okay? I can tell here the system that the late delivery. Okay? This is a note that you can email whoever you need to email so that they will know what happened to the delivery.
Okay.
Normally this goes back to the managers in the supplier side. Okay?
Okay.
To tell them that your delivery was late, your delivery man was late. Okay?
Okay.
But that's the purpose of supplier rating. It allows you to put a note so that the manager will know if the item was successfully delivered. Okay, and that is actually controlled per supplier. If you notice, now we use 3 Venice in that. In the receiving, it says here, this supplier requires rating, and any note that you email should come to test@email.com. Okay? So you can set the supplier to receive a notification every time you do a receiving. Okay, so that's receiving with discount, with value discount. You can also, let me see here, Panchon, we receive one PO with a lot of items. Okay, so if I'm going to receive PO number 31 here, I can also tell receiving that I want to spread a discount. Let's say supplier said I'll give you 5% discount. Can apply changes and tell the system, okay, discount 5%, or if it's a value amount that you want to spread to all items, you can say, okay, the supplier gave us $10 discount. Click OK. I should actually highlight all. $10 discount. The system will actually distribute that discount to all the items. Okay? Because sometimes there are multiple items that you need to apply the discount to. Okay? So that the system will distribute according to the value of the item. Okay, that's done. I now click book. Without invoice, book again. That's my receiving report. Okay, so that's basically receiving. You just receive a PO. You can also receive without a PO. Any questions before I move on to returns?
No questions.
Of course, if you can receive, you can also return. Okay, so I'm going to do returns now. Okay, the returns, of course, doesn't require a PO. You return the item if it's spoiled or if it's not satisfactory, the quality is not good. So you can return any item to any supplier. I'm going to return to that supplier and I'm going to call it return. 1, 2, 3. This happened yesterday, so I'm going to select yesterday's date. I'm going to tell the system that I'm returning from ABC store and I'm returning Apple Drive.
Apple Drive.
100. Yeah. Right, Apple 100. I'm going to book that. The system will ask, why do you want to return this? So, of course, I'm going to say spoiled items. Cannot use. Okay. Okay. So you see here now, there's an error message here that says backdating not allowed by user rights. Okay. It says there, I cannot book this because I'm not allowed to use previous date. So I'm going to change my right. Tell the system under payment returns, cannot backdate returns. So I'm going to remove that. Okay, so I can backdate returns. So get supplier, return to 3.
What is the treatment one?
In position,
Just see
ABC store, return Apple the right, 100 pieces, $1.50, $160 worth. Spoiled items. Okay, now the system accepts that. And when I book, it allows me to return. You will notice in the document now, the quantity is negative. The amount also will be in negative. Okay, because it's a return. But when I was posting it here, I didn't put any negative. Okay, so what happens now when you return? If you look at your stock on hand, ABC store for Apple Drive, I have negative 100. Can you see that?
Yes, -100.
Yeah, minus 100. Now the question here is, why did the system allow me to return even if I don't have stock? Because I didn't know that I don't have stock. I just select an item and return it. I could have returned the wrong item, right? Because I can select any item and return it. How does the system check if there's a stock or not stock? No stock.
Yeah.
So that is controlled in the parameter here in configuration. That says no negative stock. Okay? So if it's no negative stock false, that means it allows negative stock. If I say true, that means no negative stock is allowed. Okay? So if I click OK now, because I made a mistake and I have to let the system control something like that, control the stock and tell me that I don't have enough stock before I can, and I will not be able to make that return. So I'm going to log in again. Now I'm going to post the same return to supplier, and that will be the supplier, return 567. Your position, I'm going to say ABC store and select the same item, Apple Drive. This time I'm returning one more. Okay? Save that and book. It's spoiled. Click OK. If I book this, okay, the system still allows me. Just a minute. Should not allow me anymore. Let me change that configuration one more time. Logger per user. Okay. You will notice here what I changed earlier was a general rule, no negative stock, true. But I didn't change my user, administrator. The administrator still is set to false. So it did allow the system to return that. So now administrator, no negative stock, true. With that, close the log out, log in. Now I'm going to do one more return, and I'm expecting the system to say I don't have enough stock to return. And that will be return 8899. That will be ABC store and Apple Drive. Return 1. Look at foil. Yep. Yeah. Okay? So it's saying you cannot return the apple one quantity because your current balance is already negative 101.
Okay.
Okay? So I won't be able to proceed with this even if I close this and book again. It always keeps popping up this tap on hand. Okay? So the default is true. For every installation, normally this is not allowed, especially in Singapore. The system they want the system to control the stock on hand, so that mistakes won't happen, because user can just return any item without checking if there's a stock or not. Okay?
Okay.
So if there's a complaint in the future that says I have negative balance, it could be the parameter is incorrectly set. Okay? So this one, I can just save, and when I save, where does it go? I go return to supplier, go to overview screen, open, and OK. I will see that there. Return 8889. And still I won't still be able to book this. So still I don't have stock. So I just wait until I have stock, then I do the returns.
Okay.
Okay? So that's return to supplier. Okay. So now I'm going to receive something without invoice. I'm going to show you the effect on without invoice, test, and 0123 or 0987. So I'm going to receive from ABC Store Apple.
COD.
This time I received 200. Okay? Remember we had negative 101 there. I'm going to receive 200 and save that. And book this. And I don't put any invoice number. Okay? Just click book. Okay, so that will also update my stock on hand. If I look at my stock on hand here,
It's 99.
ABC Store,
99.
my apples now is 99. Which is correct, right?
Yes.
It was earlier negative 101. I received 200. System will recalculate the stock on hand. It becomes 99 now. Okay, so that's how the system computes for stock on hand. Now, how does the system handle those deliveries without invoice? When you go to receiving, if you want to see all deliveries without invoice, you just click open. Let's say all data. Those deliveries without invoice are called book invoices. Okay? As opposed to already in invoice. If I select book deliveries, click OK, you will see that these are all deliveries, but there are no invoice number. The invoice number column is blank. Okay? Okay. So if I select as opposed to current month, for example, and select already in invoice, the system will show me all deliveries that I have invoiced. Okay? There's some invoice number there. If I select all delivery notes, but only for test supplier, all delivery notes for test supplier, click OK. Now I will see two with invoice and the others has no invoice. Okay? So you can do multiple combinations depending on what you enter on this screen here. Now, how do we attach the invoice number here? There are few methods where you can attach an invoice number. First method is you can double click. Apple Drive and book again. Okay? This time you book with invoice number. Okay? And then you can put the invoice number. That will work. Or if you want the proper method, you can go to invoice control and select test supplier. Then you will see here all the deliveries that test supplier made without invoice numbers. Okay, these are delivery notes here, but no invoice yet. So let's say the invoice 222 came. I say, okay, this is invoice X2222. Invoice date today. And I close the invoice. And book. That's it. The next time I open test suppliers, I only see 3 because one is already invoiced. Okay? That's what invoice control do. Well, to attach the invoice to the deliveries. Okay? Invoice control also allows the user, if I go over here and click open from here, I want to see all closed invoices for this supplier. Let's just say English, for example. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 invoice documents from English. You can see there's an invoice number there. I can now book this to back office if it's already correct. Okay, booking this to back office means this will go to accounting for posting debit credit.
Yes.
Okay? So if I book this to accounting now, okay, cost center is not account center, cost plus, that's fine. To book that, no, it's not done. will not work. That means the setup is not correct. Okay, it says cost center is not assigned to a account class.
Yeah.
That means there's no account number assigned. So I'm going to check. This is delivered to ABC store, okay? So if I select ABC store, accounts, there's no account class assigned. So let's say just say Hotel 1. So it uses Hotel 1 account numbers. Go back to invoice control now. Open, I have English here. Okay, I see this, I book that. Central kitchen. Let me book this one. Okay, that's done. Now what happens here is, once you book the back office, the invoice will go now to back office interface. You notice we went here, receiving, then return to supplier. This is where we receive or return the item. Invoice control is a screen where we attach the invoice. It's also the same screen where we book the invoice to back office. Once after invoice control is done, all entries now goes to back office interface screen. You will see there's English there, and if I double click this, there will be account numbers, debit and credit, and the amount to debit and the amount to credit. Okay? These are now the entries to accounting. Okay, so now what to do with this one? You highlight. If you are exporting only one, then you don't click all positions. That means the highlighted one will be exported. If you are exporting all, then you can select all positions. Everything on your screen will be exported. The interface loaded here is multiple. That means I'm going to send using Sun System. Are you familiar with Sun System?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Okay, so that's an accounting system where commonly used here in Singapore. So let's say exported, and there's a parameter here where to export. That means it says here, this export file will be saved in C10. So I export that and say yes. So that's done. Now if I go to my C10, of course I'm expecting to see the file created there. Is it today? 413, yes. So you'll see it will be in this format. Account code, date and period, amount, invoice number, supplier, and send this to accounting. So accounting will be able to import this in this format. Okay? You can re-export in many formats, not only Sun. So say you made a mistake, you double click that one more time, you can just select, I want to export to SAP. And export that, yes. Or the SAP is incorrectly set. Starwood. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. You can select many formats of export. But normally in one hotel there's only one format because they only have one accounting system. Okay?
Okay.
So again, I'm going to show you the flow from the start. If I go receiving.
Mr. Noel,
Yeah.
can we book the bulk invoice at one time to back office?
Sorry, can you what?
Can we book the different suppliers at one time?
Yes. If you notice here, where is that? This is one supplier only. Just a minute, huh? I book one supplier only. Book back office interface and select overview. I select this. You will see that two different suppliers here, TVNS and FNN. If you export that, it will export at one time to and create one file name for all those suppliers. Here in this case, the format is different. So in this case, this formatting is delimited, comma delimited formatting. Okay, but yes, you can export multiple suppliers at one go. Because normally in one day, there are multiple deliveries that come in.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm going to show you the same process again because some people get confused on after receiving what's next. So I'm going to receive. First, I just want to make sure that best supplier has an account code, okay? I see this. This is the account code for this supplier. This is the credit entry for that supplier. I call it AC test. And you will see later on what happens when I export the invoice. Okay, so I'm going to receive a PO from AC test, from test supplier. I got one PO there, PO number 43, Apple Drive. And I'm going to receive 20 kilograms. No invoice. Okay, I'm going to book that. Okay, so the next day invoice came, then I have to go to invoice control.
Okay.
And select test supplier here. There's, where is that? This one. 20 kilogram, correct. Okay, so 20 kilogram, invoice number IND 20. Invoice date can be yesterday, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, let's say today. Okay, and close that invoice. Okay, so I just process that invoice. That means I have attached an invoice number to the delivery. Next step, the same screen, invoice control. This time I don't go enter supplier name, I go overview. I'm going to open test supplier and it's now closed. That invoice is a closed status, so select this. It's the one that I just did. This is good to go. I click book to back office. Okay, it's now we move here. After booking it to back office, it is now going to back office interface screen. I'm just going to close this, go back, and I will see test here. Okay, I will see test invoice number in NV20. If I double click, I see AC test, which is the one I just entered under the supplier account code, the debit and credit, the net amount, what's this? Gross amount, net amount, and the tax. Okay, so if everything is good, I tell the system, okay, I'm using Sun accounting, I will export that. Okay, so that means when I export that to accounting, the format will be like this. One debit, one credit, actually 3 entries. The credit line will be $32.10. Credit. The debit line will be $30. Another debit for tax, $2.10. Okay, and this is now can be imported to the back office system. Okay,
Yeah.
is that clear?
Yes.
The receiving process. First, I went to receiving. Then I attached the invoice number, invoice control. You attach it here if it doesn't have invoice number. If it already has an invoice number, you can just go overview and click open. Then select test and find all the closed invoices for test. Then there are 3 more. Then from here you book it to back office. You can highlight multiple if you want. Just book 3. Now it goes to back office interface. Just to be exported to accounting. Okay?
Yeah.
Is that step clear?
Yes.
Any questions?
No, sir.
No questions?
Yeah, as of now, it's okay.
Okay, so just follow the steps and you will be fit. Now, most people will print at the end of the day a receiving report. Okay, there are many receiving reports. Mostly they print from custom reports. Okay, I print that custom reports purchase. So normally I have one here that's called receiving. Then receiving, I say, can you show me all receiving as of today? And the system will be in this format. Receiving for invoice number this, total receiving for same supplier. This, test supplier, the gross, the net, and the amount. Okay, that's just a sample receiving report.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
These reports can be edited from Crystal Report. If it's wrong, you can edit that. When you preview, you will see what file name is being used. In this case, RECV1. That means it's using RECV1 as a template to print this report. So if you want to edit, you find for that RECV1. Just to show you how it looks. That's under Materials Control, RPTNG, RECV1. Okay, that's the format. If you want to edit here, add any formula, you can add from here. Okay? So, that's the report for receiving. Okay, so receiving returns to supplier invoice control back office interface. Some reports for receiving. Some people will ask, can you show me a variance report wherein I ordered this month but the supplier did not follow my order? So the correct report for that will be purchase receiving deviation per supplier. If I go to this report and say I want today, okay, so you will see this is color coded. You ordered 4, supplier delivered 3.5. Okay, remember earlier?
Yeah.
Then the outstanding became 0.5. Then you delivered 0.45. So that means supplier did not follow my quantity ordered. The price, the other 3 here, okay. The other 3 here are the ones I added discount. There was no discount added in the PO, but when I did receiving, there was discount added. So it didn't again follow exactly the PO. So there's a variance value of this much. Okay, because I I added a variance, a discount amount. Okay, so that will tell you how to do this, how to run this report with variances. Okay, let me just see what topics we need to cover today. That was sent on Thursday. Oh, fair on Friday.
Friday you have some Friday actually festival.
Receiving. Okay, so today is all about receiving. Let me see, there's some more receiving tricks here. Let's check the receiving. Just receiving. Okay, so now we've seen there are account numbers that are attached when we book the invoice to back office. Where do we enter those account numbers? There are two ways you can enter those.
The system has detected that a minimum number of lines are connected to this conference. Do you want to continue your meeting? Press 1 to confirm. If there is no response, the conference will end.
Yes, sir.
One కొట్టాలి.
Wooden.
Hello?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so now if I go item groups, you will see for each item group that you enter in the system, there's a corresponding inventory account and expense account. Okay?
Okay.
If the delivery is an F&B item like maybe rice or sugar, and it's delivered to a food store or beverage store or storeroom, the system will use inventory account. Okay? So I'm going to show you how it works. Let me just ABC store and account hotel 1. In this case, this is using account classes. So inventory INB ACCT. I'm just entering the account numbers for hotel 1. And I'm going to call this expense. And save that. Okay? So I have two accounts here, inventory and expense. This is to show you how does the system know which account number to use. So I'm going to receive again using test supplier. And to ABC store, I'm going to receive ABC store. It's a store, so I'm going to receive Apple. $1, let's just say I can also enter the amount here. Let's say the total is $20. In this total, the price will automatically recalculate. Okay? And in another store, on the same invoice, let's say for example, Business Center, there is a non-food item that was delivered. Okay, and let's call that pencil. And I received 10 pencils, and the total of those pencils is $15. Say that. Okay, so I'm going to book this with invoice. And going back to invoice control now. Under test supplier. This is the one I just did. One to ABC store, one to Business Center. Looked at the back office. Oh, Business Center doesn't have account numbers assigned to it. Also hotel one. That's his screen, that's invoice control screen. Booked at the back office. Okay, so what happens now? I'm expecting an entry with one inventory, one expense. And that's the one. Okay? If I double click this, you will see the account numbers. One credit, the top one, $35. The system use expense account for the pencil. System use inventory account for the Apple, and the tax for both. Okay? So the system can sort those out depending on what item were received in one invoice. System will select which account to follow depending on the setup of the item received and the location where it was received. In this case, the system uses expense because the item delivered is non-food item and it was delivered to the front office or no, business center. The Apple was delivered to store. The system uses inventory account, and item delivered to a store is a food item. Okay, that was it was able to use inventory account. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, question: what if the pencil was delivered to the store, or a PC store? What will be the account?
Ask me another question.
Okay, so a pencil can also be delivered to ABC store. So let's just see now, ABC store. Depending on the setup of ABC store, the account can change. Okay. If ABC store is just a store, that means if I deliver pencil in this store, the entry will be debit, expense, credit, supplier. Okay, because it's just a store. But there are sometimes some store that can contain non-food, like your general store. They issue out non-food items. So that means I have to click that, expenses on store. Meaning this store can also hold expenses items. Okay? If ABC store is set as expenses store, I set it like that, and now I receive test supplier, and yes, delivery note, I just put pencil so that I received an ABC store, pencil, and 2 pieces, and book that. Okay. So, invoice control, overview, book that. Okay, so now I just received a pencil to ABC store, but I'm expecting this account to be inventory. You will see system has used inventory account because ABC store is set to receive expenses on store. Okay?
Oh, okay.
If I remove that and receive the same item,
It will goes to the cost center, right?
yeah, that's a cost center setup. I just remove that expenses on store to ABC store. Let's see the difference now.
It will go to store, not expense.
Pencil version 2. B2. Same item, same quantity, and book that. I go invoice control, book that to back office, and I got pencil and pencil B2. The first pencil, the setup was, this is check. Now it's not check anymore. So now this one should now come out as expense. Okay? Because the ABC store is not set to receive non-food items. That means it cannot contain non-food items or cannot store non-food items. It is only mainly used for food store. Okay? So you see the effect there. One with tick here and one without tick. That will mean a lot of things when you send information to accounting. Okay? Is that clear?
Yeah.
Not clear.
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Your expenses store is normally used for your general supplies forum. Most hotels will have this forum where you get your supplies for bond paper, for pencils, for staplers and everything. Normally this is tick. For all other locations it's not tick, like food store. This will not be tick, or this should not be tick in food store because food store is meant only for food. Okay? And as opposed to business center I used earlier, that was set as a cost center.
Cost center.
Okay.
So whenever you select in this setting here, will affect the account numbers that will be used on your export.
Okay.
Okay? So that's how we define which account number the system will use during the export process. Okay. Just a minute, let me see what's relevant again in receiving.
Noel, one more question.
Yeah.
What is the virtual transit store?
Sorry?
Virtual transit store.
Transit store. Virtual transit store.
Yes.
Okay.
At what cases? At what cases we using that one? What kind of cases?
This one is related to this, using transit. These are goods in transit. Okay? If this is using transit, that means, well, this will be used in transfer, not in receiving. when you do transfer, let's say for example from food storeroom to the restaurant. Okay, when you do a transfer and post a transfer in the system, that transfer will not be charged to the restaurant yet until the restaurant pass. Click accept.
In the next
There's a
class,
button here,
Okay.
but there should be accept and decline.
Okay, that
Okay.
internal restaurant transfer.
Yeah, that means it will be in process, in progress. When they accept that delivery, that means it will not be in the virtual transit store anymore. It will be charged to that forum. Only when if they don't accept, those goods will still be sitting in virtual transit store because
Okay.
it's still in transit. Goods in transit, I guess, is the correct term for accounting. Goods in transit. Because
Okay.
the goods has left the forum but hasn't reached the restaurant yet. Okay,
Okay.
but very few people actually use this, so you might not even get one call. Well, at least in Asia, nobody uses decline and transfer because the problem with this is most users, when they receive their goods, they don't log into the system to accept it.
Okay.
Hey, if they don't accept it here, that means when the forum comes, the inventory will be wrong because the inventory hasn't, the system thinks that those goods hasn't received, hasn't reached the restaurant yet. So when you come to the restaurant, you might get different balances because those balances were not added to the stock on hand. Okay, so
Okay.
that's in transit. So let me just see what's relevant again for receiving here. Accounting. These are, if you notice, there are key codes in our export file earlier. Well, mostly this is used in Sun accounting because Sun accounting uses key codes. There is that. Yep. T code 1, T code 2, T code 3, T code 4, T code 10, T code 7. And I think that is in that bit. You can specify additional codes to be added in your export file by adding it here. Okay? So there's just additional codes. They are mostly using Sun. For other accounting systems, they don't use this. Okay, one reminder again here. Let's say, let's pick up a different item. It's gone. Okay, this one. This one might be useful for you. Okay, minimum deviation, 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%. Okay, that means if I put 10% here, if my PO price is $10, the receive at $11, that's within 10% of the variance, the system will accept it. If the price in PO is $10 and the supplier came with an invoice with a $15 price, the system will say this is beyond the percentage limit. Okay, so I'm just gonna set this as an example. Apple jelly.
That is difference between
And just, sorry?
difference between P1 invoice.
Going back up. Which one?
That deviation settings.
Deviation settings. Yeah, receiving from PO deviation settings. So the system will compare the deviation and decide if it will allow you to receive or not to receive a particular item based on a price that you enter.
Okay.
So I'm going to make sure that I'm not allowed to receiving deviation, override deviation settings. Create. Just going to override receiving deviation settings. Going to remove that. Going to remove the override deviation settings. Okay, I'm done. Now I'm going to log out and log in. And log in as admin again. And now I'm going to make a PO for apple jelly. For bucket, apple jelly. Supplier is test supplier. Wait. Okay. And I'm going to order, let's say 10 at price $100. Okay? So that it's easy to unit each. Okay, for jelly, order that. Preview. Send an email again. That's just a PO, 1,000. Okay. Trying to send an email. Let me just close down while waiting. Okay. Now what we do receiving. Test PO number 45, apple jelly. Quantity is 10. In my deviation settings, it is set to 10% only. So let's say the supplier delivered 15. The system will say this is not allowed because my deviation setting allows me by 10% only.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Can you see this message? The quantity is not allowed because of the receiving deviation settings. So even if receiving is allowed to change the price, you can limit the user on how much he can change. Like for example, the price. If he put 115, this is also not allowed because allowed only 10%. If I put 11 here, system will accept that because that's within 10%. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what receiving deviation setting does. Now let me see on the suppliers if there's some special receiving effects. Tax. Okay, let's focus now on the tax. If I have a tax that says standard, standard is 7%. However, I can also set that, let's say, beef, low tax. Okay? Let's say, for example, because sometimes you will receive a call saying the system did not compute for tax correctly. Okay, in this case, the item group beef is set to total tax, while the supplier is set to standard tax. If I create a receiving and receive bid, for example, bid bone marrow $1. Is bone marrow bid brisket. GST. It's a mini error. I'm expecting it not to compute for tax.
Yes.
Beef brisket. Repeat. Default setting item group. Item group beef. So where do you say that? We'll just make a PO on that. New position. Brisket. Beef brisket. Best supplier. Then on this page. Okay, you notice here that the GST is still 0, even though the supplier is set to compute for standard GST. Okay, because the item that you ordered
Doesn't have the tax.
belongs to beef, which it says no tax. Okay? So the best way for you, the system to compute tax correctly is your item group and supplier must be set up as corrected with the correct tax code, in this case tax rate 1. So I'm going to change it to tax rate 1. Save that and do another order. New banquet. Beef brisket. Test supplier. One of this. Save. Okay, cancel. Okay. Go here. Close that one. Purchase orders. Okay, can you see that tax net? That is computing for 7% because the supplier and the item group meet the criteria of tax computation. Okay? So in most cases, what happens is you hold your item groups. If you're not sure, just set them as tax rate 1. Okay? It doesn't matter if it's taxable or not taxable, just set them all as tax rate 1. then you tell the system by supplier, okay, which supplier has tax, which supplier has no tax.
No tax.
You control them by supplier. So that even though, because in most cases it's by supplier, the tax setup is per supplier. Correct? Because some supplier may deliver bids with tax, some supplier may deliver bids without tax.
Yeah.
Okay, so we control that by supplier. If this is set as no GST, even if your item group has GST, it will still not compute GST. If this is set to GST or tax, and it matches with the item group, then it will compute for GST. Okay? So you control that GST based on supplier basis, not based on item group. All your item groups should have a tax rate one for easy understanding and computation.
Mr. Nail,
Yeah.
if the same supplier supplying different items with some of the items having taxes and some of the item doesn't have the taxes, then?
No, the system will not compute that correctly in that case. If that happens, you will have to create two suppliers. Two suppliers with the same name, one no tax, one with tax. Okay?
Okay.
So in this case, if this is no tax, then I put no tax. Then I create the same name with the same supplier, but with the name with tax,
Then,
so that it can compute correctly.
then we cannot create article wise.
Create an article.
Yeah, article wise we cannot put it like that. The particular article have the tax and
No, it will not compute correctly. It has to be controlled per supplier. It's easier this way if you control it per supplier. For the article, you can control with or without tax, but the problem is some supplier will deliver the same item with tax, correct?
yeah.
Because maybe the supplier doesn't deliver this item without tax, but other supplier might deliver the same item with tax. So if you control it per item, you will always not compete for tax regardless of supplier. So it's better to control it supplier-wise. Well, I'm not very familiar with the setup in India, so the setup by item might work for you, but in Singapore, it doesn't work that way. Maybe you can study more and see how is the database creator there in India. If you can, is there any installer there in your office that is familiar with NC
Where in?
or materials control
I have seen in previous.
that you can borrow? Sorry.
I have seen in my previous company, which is in Novotel. So there is a they use.
Yeah. Well, because I'm not familiar with your tax setup, so I cannot say which one is the correct method. But in Singapore, we always control it by supplier. In India, the correct method might be the other way.
By article wise, right?
Okay, by article wise or by item group wise.
Okay.
In the article wise, if you also noticed earlier,
Huh.
there's also another setting here that is about tax, this one. Okay?
Yeah.
Use the tax rate in item groups or use a different tax rate for this item only. Okay?
Yeah.
You can also set it per item.
Actually, in India, if the particular article have the taxes, the every supplier use it to put the tax on that particular article.
In that case, yes, that might be applicable for you.
Right?
You
Yeah.
set it per article or per item group. Yes. Because I don't know the setup in India, so I cannot say which one is better for you there. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's all about tax. Receiving in foreign currency, that's the last topic that I'm going to show you. Let's just say your supplier, 3 Venice, is set to receive in Australian dollar. I can also select US dollar. If I do receiving, continue. Notice that this is now SGD because I haven't selected any supplier. If I select Taiwanese, I will see this change now to US dollar, the conversion rate. And I'm going to revert to backward and use the same example. As you notice now, I'll have two lines, one in US dollar and one in SGD. The price in SGD is $1.44. The price in US dollar is 1.15. I can change either one. I can change here, or I can also change here, and it will compute accordingly. Okay? Like that. Now I will also have two lines here, one in local currency and one in US dollar. You can see there. Then I can book that. Book it out invoice. This produces supplier rating, so I just put some notes in there. And now you will see the currencies here. Okay? How much is it in SGD, US dollar, SGD? Okay? So that's how it's received with foreign currency amount. And remember, the foreign currency is attached to the supplier. It's attached here. It's by supplier wise. And the foreign currency exchange rate is entered here. This is the exchange rate that you use. Yeah. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, should be easy. This one is a bit easy. There's nothing complicated about this. Okay, any questions about receiving?
As of now, okay, sir.
No questions?
No.
Okay, maybe now after this session you can practice
Yeah.
and see if you can follow the flow of receiving, receive, invoice control, book to back office, and then back office interface.
Yeah.
And you can also play with the account numbers on how the account numbers are created in the system. In your database, the account numbers are entered in item groups.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
If you go item groups, click OK. That's the inventory account and expense account.
Okay.
Okay? Then you can play on what if it's a store, what account number it uses, what if it's a cost center, what account number will be used.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess if there's no more questions, I will be receiving basic training. Tomorrow will be storm transfer, issue requests, and manage stores.
Yeah.
And yeah, same timing, same codes on the phone, and I'm going to send you a new link via BombGuard. Maybe tomorrow, instead of using my database, I'm going to use your database in your PC.
Okay.
Because you're only using one PC anyway, right?
Yeah.
You are looking at the same PC.
Yes, yes.
So I'm going to use your PC
Okay.
so that I can put some examples there.
Right.
Okay? Because if I keep doing examples on my machine, I get to keep the examples, but you don't have examples on your database.
Right, sir.
Okay?
Right.
So tomorrow it will not be a presentation, BombGuard. It will be a basic BombGuard link that you have to click.
Yeah.
Okay? The same timing I will send you again before that.
Right, sir.
Okay?
Right.
So that's all for now. Thank you. I'm going to close this. And that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, you can email me if there are any questions that you encounter during the day.
Right, sir.
Okay?
Yep.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.